Live? Nope. Hello, everybody. We're doing pitch wars, and this isn't these creators warring with each other. No, they're warring with you, those of you watching this video, because we're trying to wear your defenses down so you back these campaigns. This is Pitch War. And on tonight's programming, we will be talking about, oh, we have the wrong screen, but that's okay. We can go further. We're going to be talking about the Savage Sasquatch. We're going to be talking about there's an alien in my toilet. I can't, Sam, ever do this without giggling. There's an alien in my toilet. We're going to be talking about Scorpio a little bit because the creator's not here. They're not with us tonight, but we'll give them a shout out. And give a shout out to Dale, who has Tap Studs, the latest project from Sticky Graphic Novels, the premier publisher of wordless, gay, character-based, sex-positive graphic novels, is back in 2022. Hashtag smart, hashtag wholesome, hashtag homo sexy. And we're going to be talking about Alexion. We had the creator here last week. Great creator. We're going to talk about Visicarian Tales as we go through the night at one point. Try to get that pitch out to all of you. And we're going to try to talk about Cloud Raiders, but we're really going to focus on The Expanse because that's my project and that's all that matters. I mean, we're going to talk about The Expanse too tonight. That's what I meant. Not a focus. But we do have a cool thing where there are two different videos that you can vote for your favorite soundtrack with the video, because I like to do things special because I'm extra. So we're going to go around the room and say hello to everyone on the campaign. We're going to talk about Spectrus and Sabion if we get a chance. Coming soon, we'll also be part of this. We're going to try for a 30-minute video, but we're going to see if we go over a little. We'll go over a little because we have some people. But before we get started with the introductions around the room, I want to quickly talk about the supply chain issue. For all of you who don't realize how serious this is, elections are now having trouble getting voting ballots. So when your comic book creator says, hey, look, there really is a printing problem, I assure you there is a printer problem right now because they can't get paper. Paper's become the new gold right now. The good news is, from what I'm hearing, we should be seeing an end to this by Christmas. The bad news is we're in June. So please be patient with your creators. Understand delays are not in the control of the printer, not in control of the creators. Be supportive of them, especially if you've backed someone who's always gotten you what they said they were going to get you. Chill. They're going to get you the PDFs. They're going to show you the work is done. Understand they cannot control this. This is brought on by a global you-know-what that hit us in 2020. So chill, relax. And with that, I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves around the room. We're going to start off talking to Sam. What is up?
What's up, everybody? My name is Samuel. I'm the creator of There's an Alien in My Toilet, which is currently on Kickstarter and ends tomorrow. His name is Duty. He's from Uranus, and he has come to Earth. So what will you do when you're trying to figure out what is this thing in your house and your son is adamant that there's an alien in your toilet? Who do you turn to? Does anybody believe you?
I turned to Mike.
I would issue too.
I would think, Mike, come to my toilet and get the alien out of my toilet. Speak
Call of Duty.
What an introduction. This is Mike.
Hey, everybody. I'm Mike with Pest. No, the wrong thing. I'm Mike. My day job. I'm a comic creator, and I have a comic that came out, my first issue of Eclipse Superhero. That's a Hawaiian hero. I'm excited because I have stories that are branching off from that. I've also done some art stuff for Marvel, DC, a little bit for DC, some Lucas art stuff. I'm currently working on a project right now involving Falcon Winter Soldier. That's pretty much all I can say. But going into my current campaign is The Expanse. It's a story that's got 5 different stories that talk about some branch offs from some previous stories that we did as far as Wolf and Fox. And that's the main focus this week, and then we'll shift to another.
I'm Wes Hartman, creator of The Savage Sasquatch. Currently, I am crowdfunding on Kickstarter the collected edition of Volume 1 of Savage Sasquatch. It contains all 6 issues of the series, plus the original, plus the origin story that was previously unavailable that was drawn by Tyler Kirkham. Savage Sasquatch is about is about Bigfoot in space. Bigfoot was a victim of NASA in the space race in the 60s, and he was part of one of the early early space experiments, launching things up in space, see how it affects man. Well, they launched Bigfoot in space, and just like the Fantastic Four, he got hit with space rays and all kinds of cosmic goodness or badness, and was transported across the universe, where now he mixes it up with aliens, he arm wrestles, he hangs out with space babes and tentacle monsters, and is on the being hunted by the biggest intergalactic empire in the universe.
And I guess
pages right there. That's he's. Oh yeah, there's Sova Yeti also. I mean, I gotta give shout out to Sova Yeti, who's the cosmonaut abominable snow woman.
There we go. We're going to talk about all that and more. My name is Mr. Anderson. If you don't know who I am, just Google me. There's a lot. Believe it all, I don't have time to make any adjustments to what is out there. So just believe everything that's out there about me. It's just easier than correcting any of the records. And it makes me sound more interesting. I have so many more layers when you believe all the rumors. I created comicbookadvocates.com, which supports creators and advocates for them. This is BACKERPAUSE. And normally we would talk about pitches with one judge and myself, and we would look at all the different campaigns. But this week I wanted to do something special. When you get your guest judge to cancel on you just hours before the show, it's time to have fun. It's summer. So I was like, let me do something special. Let me see who's available. All these fine gentlemen are available. I have Advance 2, which is kind of cool. It joins the Continuum library that we have that is continuing to grow. But we want to do something special for Continuum. We wanted to expand our own stories and celebrate the fact that Wolf and Fox is now getting a full run. That's right. It's going to get its own series. Redeemers is going to get a 4-part miniseries starting in 2023. And Heroing by the Hour is going to have its ongoing series as well. It's been launched to have an ongoing series. So we're pretty excited. We're also excited to introduce you to our newest character that we're going to be talking about tonight, the Influencer, a hero that actually protects the hood and actually cares about the hood. That's something you don't really hear about. And I grew up in a hood. Trust me, no one cares. So when you have that kind of idea of a hero actually staying in the hood, and they're not just there to bully people, that's an interesting thing to me, and I really wanted to create that. Mike's on the journey with me as the co-creator. So we're going to go around. We're going to talk about the pitch, because I love the pitch. That's the BACKERPAUSE way, right? We talk about the pitch. Why did you go with the pitch that you have? So we're going to go from campaign to campaign, and I'll go last. So I'm going to move myself to the bottom of the pile. And we're going to go in the order that, I don't know why it's not moving me. There we go. Oh, it's making a mess because I don't want to go right after Mike. Me and Mike have to be separated. I'm playing like celebrity tic-tac-toe and moving the pieces. So bear with me. All right. So here we go. This is the order we'll go. Sam, we're going to hit up your campaign. Now, one of the things I can say is it seems this week it is better that we're seeing the Twitter feed and on Kickstarter. The Kickstarter previews are showing up back on Facebook. We'd reported about that for the last 2 weeks, that they had somehow vanished. I don't know if any of you noticed that, but all of your preview pictures had gone away from your actual campaigns. I had to take screenshots and put them on Twitter so you could still be seen on our BACKERPAUSE.com Twitter feed. So we're going to go, just here it is. Sam, how important to you is your pitch? How well does it work? And start off by giving us the pitch to There's an Alien in My Toilet.
Well, I gave you the pitch at the beginning. So basically, his name is Duty. He's from Uranus. He is the pride of Uranus. The best of the best is what they have.
But you didn't tell us about the samurai, the swarming ants that are samurais. I need that.
That's part 2. So Duty has landed, right? So he was sent to Earth on a recon mission. He thinks he's the best and brightest in the universe, but yet he forgets to refuel and he crash lands. And in episode 1, he learned really quick that is not going to be as easy as he thought it was, and he had to survive Earth's simple creatures like a woodpecker, some wolves, a bear. And now in issue 2, Duty encounters red ants, some rabid squirrels, and he is trying to find refuge, and he needs to evade and escape the woods and finds a safe haven. And so because he keeps taking a licking, his imagination runs wild, and he believes that he is a samurai and the ants are ninja, and he has to do battle with them. And you'll find out more about his psyche and what makes him tick in this issue. So, and then he runs into that one turtle that left his post in issue 1 that he has to deal with. But yeah, so this is an all ages fun for the entire family series. And each issue of Designated on My Toilet has 4 pages of activities, from puzzles to trivia, to uh, research questions to encourage learning and education for all the kids. And so I'm excited. This is issue 2, and it's this arc is a 10-issue series. And this campaign, what's different from the first one is that there's even though each book has its own 4 pages of activities, there's an official activity book in the series, and there's also Duty's Adventures, which is a kid's book, where Duty is growing up on his home world of Uranus as a child, and he has to deal with a school bully who he basically conjures up to be the diabolical egomaniac overlord nemesis Poo-Poo, and Duty becomes a superhero, and he has to do battle with Poo-Poo. So and deal with the school bully. So this is from ages 2 on up. It's a clean, fun adventure series. And if you loved Marvin the Martian and Alf and Invader Zim, or even Buzz Lightyear, you're going to enjoy There's an Alien in My Toilet. I can't hear you.
Thank you. Jax was in the background clapping. You've been able to pitch this book now in public. You've been at shows. Yes. What has been the reception? I am curious. How has this been received in public? When you
I went there with all of my products, and Duty was the focus. All the conversations were around this property, so what the biggest lesson I learned from going to the event was to really just focus all of my energy on just continue world building with There's an Alien in My Toilet, which is why I have the trading card game in development. There's the children's book, there's the comic book, there's the activity book. This campaign also has a coloring book as well. So that's what I took away from the event, was just, Forbidden is done. I did Forbidden. The graphic novel is fully completed. It'll be in stores at the end of the year. Catch the Crazies, we put on hiatus because I want to make this my focus.
Fair enough. All right, Mike, you're up. Give us the pitch. We said we were going to let you do the pitch for
Redeemers and
well, I'm bringing up Redeemers for you because the
other one
I took care of the pitch for quickly, but you can add something if you think I missed some. But Redeemers, give it to us.
So the story picks up right after they attempt to bring Eclipse in. Eclipse is a Hawaiian hero that is from Hawaiian Islands, and they sent the mainland heroes in to try to bring them in. But what happened was not a positive aspect. So now we get to find out what they're up to and how they're redeeming themselves when they failed hard.
Now, this is going to be a group of this is something you created. This is going to be a group that goes around internationally and not really have a home. How important was it for you to create, because there's even some characters that haven't been introduced to the team yet that are on the team. How important was it for you to have these characters step out on their own?
Because they're a good group of personalities and characters in that sense that when you read the first issue of Eclipse, you actually get a good taste of the bickering and them trying to actually work together, knowing that they've failed in the past as individuals and learning how to work together. So they get an opportunity to actually try to redeem themselves by going out and doing things for government.
So it sounds like there's a bigger universe that these characters are attached to.
Yeah, I have a pretty vast array of characters that will be continually introduced, at the same time focusing on the key characters that you see right here, as far as you'll get a better understanding of who they are individually, where they're from. Some of them you can almost look and see that they're from certain areas.
All right. And Wes, tell us your pitch for this when you're at a convention. You're at a convention right now. Someone walks up to you, never met you, don't know who you are, don't know what this book is. Give us your best pitch.
usually I just start with Bigfoot in space. And from that point, I can tell whether or not I should pursue it further. Because it goes either hot or cold, where somebody's like, oh, wow, okay. Or somebody just turns their nose up and walks on, or buys something completely different. So I start with Bigfoot in space, and if they're interested in that, usually it just runs right into what I was saying earlier, where he was a victim of NASA in the space race in the 60s, where they captured him and launched him into space. And after cosmic space rays bombarded him in the capsule, he got transported across the universe and is now fighting with an intergalactic empire, stealing spaceships, arm wrestling aliens, and just generally trying to find his place and purpose in the world. He thinks he wants to go home, but as he goes along, he realizes that maybe that's not who he is anymore, and he's a space gallivanting pirate, So
Yeah, I want to see that to be the sequel title. The
Space Pirate?
Sasquatch Pirate or something like that. Go for it. So let me ask you, why the graphic novel? Like, is this, you think you're going to get more success going graphic novel versus single issues? Are there single issues?
There are single issues. There was a 6-issue run, and this collects the first 6 issues. I'm getting really low on my copies of the first issue, and I did a pretty low print run of the last issue, so it's kind of getting to the point where I want a book to sell, man, and people love, especially at cons, they love those graphic novels. That's actually a bit easier sell than the issues at times. It's like, oh, you can get the whole story right here. So, but yeah, I've been dreaming of having this book in my hands since I first came up with the idea of Bigfoot in space, and I've got, like I said, I'm including the origin story that my buddy Tyler Kirkham drew for me. He did a 3-page origin story, and we've already unlocked another stretch goal, and I've got another 4-page original story that bridges the gaps between issues 2 and 3 that we're adding in there, and I'm hoping we can unlock some more. I've got the cover galleries, the next stretch goal, and then after that is a stretch goal to unlock another 6-page story I'd love to include in the book. So while it is a collection of the 6 issues, you're going to get extra content that wasn't previously available.
Very cool. And this is definitely a beautiful book.
Thank you.
Like every time we've had it on, it's just amazing. You had some good pitches as well. Sam, also good pitch. Your pitch for it is a Bigfoot lost in space, and joyous, humorous, and sensational adventures of aliens, betrayals, spaceships, emperors, and arm wrestling. That's just a great pitch right there, because it loads so much into the chamber of the imagination that people, that's it. That's how you win. Now, we're going to take a look at Expanse, and I'll tell you, Expanse, like Mike was talking about, we came out with the Continuum over here last year. We started off this whole idea of building a creative library, and we've invited our friends, including Fish Lee, who gives us the green zone to make part of our library that'll be available part of this. Now, one of the things that we had was Wolf and Fox, and Wolf and Fox was just this 5-page story that we went to cons and we talked to everyone about it. And the pitch was rather simple. What happens when a divorced duo has to work together to co-parent a city? And that right there, it sold books. That was it. They put that was the moment. It triggered people to put the money down. No one's met Fox until this very moment. This is the first time Fox is appearing. We've greenlit the series. This was I believe, wasn't this the first one that we were like, that needs a series? That's it.
Yeah.
Right to series. Eclipse was already going. We'd already planned for Eclipse to be a series, but Wolf and Fox was a test market one. Because I always say the Continuum and these Continuum books, especially when it's Continuum Presents, are pilots. We're putting pilots out there and see who gravitates towards what. And this was gravitated instantly. I mean, we're going to have them on literal therapy couches. I don't know if Mike read the story that I sent today, but the one
I didn't get a chance to yet.
But the one that he did read that goes into that first issue, it gets pretty savage. There's going to be a moment where you're like, ooh, damn, I've been there in that kind of fight. And it's going to feel raw and real. And that's the whole point of this, is that we never get to see the human side of heroes. What happens when they're stuck to deal with the consequences of things that happen? in their regular lives. That's not really focused on as much as their hero lives very often. And I thought that was very interesting. And imagine everyone knows what it is to have an ex, let alone someone you were married to. Imagine having to work with that person every day and what that would cause. And in the original story, they've cut up the city, and Wolf has decided that Fox is not paying attention enough and has started to sneak into her territory. What'll happen when these two meet, when he's crossed the line, literally? Will they tear into each other? Well, you're going to have to pick up The Expanse to see the next exciting story from Wolf and Fox. And then right after this, it spins off into a series where you'll have to go out and get the third book, the third part of the book, I should say, and the end of the story of the first chapter of Wolf and Fox, as we release it this fall as its own standalone issue, which for the first time ever Continuum will also be pairing it with Heroing, which we'll be talking about later on the program. We're going to head back over to the toilet, and we're going to talk more about this trading card that you mentioned, this trading card game thing. What's going on, Vera? Oh, you're muted. Now it's my turn to tell you you're muted.
Sorry, my dogs were acting up and they were fighting behind me, and I had to mute my mic. So this is every campaign will have another volume for the trading card game. Next year, at the fall next year, the game will be debuted on Kickstarter. I'll launch it on Kickstarter. It's a tabletop trading card game with a board and dice and the whole book, and so you get to start collecting some of the cards in the series early on. There's a guidebook to the characters in the series that's also in this campaign. You'll get an early jump on a lot of the characters that's to come in the universe. So this is something I've been working on for a while now, and it'll be ready at the end of next year.
Now that card game I'll play with. Is it a card game that will be somehow also possibly a digital version coming? So I know that's becoming popular. These digital card games you can play with your friends.
Well, there's something that I'm working on. I can't disclose, but that's the goal.
Gotcha. Good enough. Because I know you went to that big Vegas was the expo about like licensing and deployment, which I still want to pick your brain about, because I thought that was brilliant that you went there. So that was really exciting. And speaking of really exciting, Mike, we have this brand new character. Tell me about the hero for the hood a bit.
It's a hero that is out to actually try to take care of those that get missed, that don't get seen. And we have to show off at least one of the pictures. It's one picture that says a lot. That's not here, but it speaks volumes as far as how much he cares about what's happening around New York City in the more downtrodden areas. So the question is he going to be accepted like he wants to be accepted? And that's what I think sometimes comes into play, even in some of the bigger hero stories. They want acceptance for what they're doing in a sense too. So,
and this happens in Queens Village, Jamaica, Queens area. That is where this takes place. Wow. If you know the area.
I grew up there.
Yeah. So this will have probably at one point Gabby's Pizza showing up over there on Francis Lewis Boulevard and Hillside Avenue, right when it becomes Jamaica Avenue. Oh. Yeah, this is gonna feel. If you grow up in a city that had a hood, you're gonna know. We're gonna have tops of buildings. We're gonna have the things that go on. Only people know who've been in the hood. So be some interesting stuff in here. Wes, speaking of interesting, what's the next step? Because 296 backers, 11 grand. You're gonna get 12 to 14 by the time it's done. This is crying for a sequel. So as best you can, give us a look into the future of this character.
I definitely have some plans. I do have a couple projects I'm going to do first before I follow up with a sequel, just to branch out and stretch my legs a bit. But yeah, I mean, I would love to do Sasquatch forever. And if by chance I don't get the stretch goal that has the next story, the next 6-page story I want to include, Probably the first thing I'll do with it is maybe create a anthology type issue where I have a couple of different vignettes and short stories about characters in the Sasquatch universe, so I can showcase stories I've already got done and trying to use. So, and then from there, yeah, I probably won't do 6-issue volumes. They'll probably be shorter, maybe 2 or 3 issues, but with longer page counts, do 30, 40 page issues as opposed to 24 page issues. But yeah, man, in my brain, I've always envisioned this to be kind of a Ninja Turtles-esque properties. Is like I designed it specifically so I could tell stories forever, all kinds of stories. So if I wanted to do a Western, I can kind of do a Western story by going to a different planet with Bigfoot. And if I want to do a romance, I can either do it with Bigfoot or I'm building out supporting cast and do that. And I've just one of my issues creatively is I like to chase rabbits and go do different things. And so part of my hope with Bigfoot with Sasquatch is to be able to do a lot of that inside Sasquatch itself. Now, obviously, I just told you I'm doing other stuff before I do more Sasquatch, but not everything works. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I want to do Bigfoot forever, and I do think, like I told you before earlier, is if I say Bigfoot in space and people latch on to that, you know, I'm pretty good. But there's a lot of people that can't quite grasp that concept. You know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is easy to grasp, but Bigfoot in space is a little too far-fetched. So my hope is doing some of these other ideas and stories I have will help lead people back to Sasquatch, so I can keep making this book, because this campaign's going well, but to make it more sustainable, I need to keep growing it. So that's the goal, is to keep growing it. And I got a con next week or next month, and initially I was hoping I would have this book by then, but life and COVID and all kinds of stuff kept pushing the launch, and then supply chains, and it is what it is. So I still got all the issues, so I'll have all the issues at the show and keep preaching the gospel of Bigfoot in space, and we'll just keep trying to make it happen, man, because Sasquatch is near and dear to my heart, and we just want to make more.
All right. And I guess I take over for our campaign, and I want to make an introduction. New series regular artist has taken over on both Wolf and Fox, and has taken over on our other Heroing project. Now, Heroing, and this is Mike Seeley's cover. Heroing's about the world's only superhero in a world full of supervillains. There's one guy who's a superhero, and he is someone who'd rather be a wrestler. So to get him to be a hero, they have to pay him millions of dollars an hour. Now, this introduces Sergio Rios as our series regular, which he did Wolf and Fox right there. He does the Fox, and then this is his art for Heroing. And this is building towards a bigger story. We're so happy to have him. And Mike is actually attached to 4 of the 5 stories, as I am. He is the colorist on 2 stories, creator on 2 stories, artist on 2 stories, and cover artist on, I want to get this right, 4 of them, right? 4 covers are your covers. So he did a lot of work going into this expanse, and you guys are going to learn a lot about these characters, because the hardest thing to do, and I think all the creators in the room will instantly know what I mean, it's getting people to care about the characters you love. That is the hardest thing to do. But once you do it, once you see the connection, there's nothing like it. I know I've gotten to see Mike get feedback about his characters, and I see how he glows like a little kid at Christmas once people notice things about a story. And that is the best thing in the world, is being able to create things that people see and they instantly want to know more about and talk about. And I think that we're all little kids just trying to express our imagination that everyone tried to tell us we couldn't have when we were kids as we got to become adults. And it's an amazing thing to do. So Mike did a lot of work, a lot of heavy lifting on this one. That's why we called it The Expanse, because this was me and Mike coming out and expanding what we'd already done. And we wanted to show this is going to be the footprint of Continuum. Future project, we're going to do Garage Days, which is going to literally ask for all of your original work. I want to see creators' original thing they put out. The thing they never thought was going to get published, I want to publish that and show it. And it's kind of awesome because it's where we begin. It's the grittier stuff. It's the, hey, look, this is how passionate I was, and this is how I got created. I want to see Sam when it wasn't an alien in the toilet, but it was a dog in the toilet. I want to see that original pitch idea that he never thought would get published. We're going to publish it. We're going to continue to publish anthologies, giving people like Wes a place to put his projects when he has in between projects, little stories. And the great thing is we take these with us to Comic-Cons. So, you know, Fish Lee does not live in Florida. So now when I go to Florida, Fish Lee is officially in Florida with us. And it's all about building this huge library that celebrates creation and creator-owned comics and indie comics and all comics in between. Continuum wants to be the bridge of creators. We've been lucky enough to already have the very talented Milestone winner, Peterson, who's now over in DC doing the new Milestone stuff. He's been part of the projects already. We want to continue that, opening the doors. If I can get Scott Snyder to put in something to Continuum, you're damn right I'll accept it and it'll be part of it. But we also want that new creator needing a break. And I'll let Mike talk about it in the next round after we do our final pitches. The importance of commercial work and what we're looking for as far as that. Because as soon as we're done with The Expanse, we're going to open up an actual call to join the Continuum. Even allowing series to join us in the Continuum. Now that we really built the framework, we're going to be opening up and we're going to have an open call for it. But we want to do final pitches now, and Sam gets to start with his creation. He's going to tell us, he's going to implore you, he's going to tell you why you need in your life an alien in your toilet.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
Already? Oh, so yeah, so basically Duty is a teenager who has to live up to the standards of his father, who's the Emperor of Uranus, and you know, and he has big shoes to fill, and he's trying to impress his dad, so he overcompensates with his bravado, but inside he's really insecure, and you know, he's just trying to find his way. We can all relate to that. It's fun for all ages, and here's an opportunity if you're feeling charitable. I partnered with a comic book for kids organization, and there's an add-on where you can send 6 books to the organizations. Last campaign we sent 25. I'm hoping to double that with this campaign, and put some smiles on kids' faces that are dealing with cancer. And so this is fun for all ages. You can sit at home. Dads, moms, you can actually do the puzzles and the crosswords while the kids are laughing and reading the story, and you can read it along with them, and be a kid again. Just have fun and let your imagination run wild.
That's awesome. Is there a quick link? Is there a place they can find it besides BACKERPAUSE.com?
Yes. If you go to dutiesworld.com, right on the main page, hit that banner, and it'll take you right to the Kickstarter.
That's awesome. Mike Sealy, you're up. Tell them why they need the Redeemers in their life, why they need the influencer.
The Redeemers is going to be one of those stories that actually draws you back to their origin story, which is Eclipse. Eclipse is a story that, you know, like I said, is really close to me because it's my first story that I released, and so they play a huge part in it. And it's really about a story about redemption for them individually and as they come together as a team.
And Expanse, why is Expanse something they want to put on their wish list?
Because it's Expanse as a whole?
Yeah, as a whole.
Oh, because it's a great opportunity to see what fruits are coming out of Continuum.
And not forgetting that we get to meet Mr. Fish's Green Zone. Tell us what you're looking for, because you're the art director of Continuum Comics. When people want to pitch to us and send their submissions, what do you want to see?
First of all, I do have two for you to actually read. Side note of people that actually came after me and they're really talented artists. So I'm looking at art and story and stuff that actually would fit. We have different lines for Continuum, that it's a fit for everybody. Where we have Comics Unleashed, that's a little more edgy. We got Written Sins comics that's more horror. We have Playtime for kids. We're really trying to find talent that's right on the edge and just want to get their product out to more people. Like I said, because we do a lot of cons, we have a good, a decent online presence. So we are trying to get people into comic books in all different aspects and what people actually truly are looking for in comics. And it's not just heroes, but if you want heroes, you got that. If you're more a horror reader, we're trying to do some of that. So we're trying to kind of cater to multiple different avenues. So we just want people to enjoy reading and getting back into what a lot of people have something that they're connected with when it's dealing with comics, and whether it's from something they watched in the movies or something they read when they was a kid.
And what's the URL that they can go directly to the Expanse?
Creator Comics Unleashed. No, Creator Comics.
No,
Creator owned comics. COMIX.com.
There we
Got
go.
that one up.
There you go. We got it. We got it finally. Wes, talk to us about why the savageness needs to be part of their lives.
Well, I've been making comics for going on 20 years now, and in that time I've always been an indie guy. You know, I spent first half of my career working with Antarctic Press, but most of my time and recognition is known as a colorist, and I freelance color for Marvel, DC, Aspen, Zenescope, you name it. I've done something with somebody, but I've always had stories, and while the stories I've put out in the past have often been ignored, and this is kind of my first foray into self-publishing, into Kickstarter, into this awesome community that's just phenomenal, man. I love the Kickstarter community. This has been an eye-opening and exciting 3 years that I've been doing this, and Savage Sasquatch's the beginning of it, you know, and I'm hoping it'll be the end as well. I'm hoping I can do Sasquatch forever, but Sasquatch is me investing in myself and my creative career to tell awesome stories that if and when I'm in the comic book store, this is what I want to read. There's a lot of stuff out there in comics that I don't want to read, and there's a lot of stuff I do want to read. Well, I'm trying to make books I want to read, and I'm hoping other people will too. This is Bigfoot in space. If you can buy that, I'm pretty sure I can give you one of the best stories you've never read.
That's a great pitch right there. And is there a special URL that they can go to besides finding us at BACKERPAUSE.com right now?
You can find me on social media at Sasquatch or the Sasquatch on Instagram, and all the links to the Kickstarters are on there. I don't have a cosmetic link, unfortunately, because I'm not that tech savvy.
I'm sure your popularity will get you there. All right, guys. First off, I want to thank everyone who joined me this evening. Again, this was thrown together within 2 hours, and I think this is one of the most fun backer pause I've had in a while. I've loved hearing from you. Vera, I love the fact that you told me more deep about that story and that you really got to connect with that. I can't wait to see the Wild West version of the Savage one.
Me too.
Mike, I'm so excited to hear that you got work. I'm glad that you announced on live air. I have things for you to read, Grob. Nothing like that to hear that you have more homework for the July 4th weekend. I want to thank everyone who watched the show and everyone who's already backed the Expanse and gone with us on this continuum journey as we continue to try to bring you guys what we want to see, the things that we never got to talk about in comics yet. And I hope that you come with us on the journey. And I'm going to end the show today by talking about our pitch. And I thought the pitch was something really good. And this week's focus is Wolf and Fox. So it's Expanse, where a wolf and fox learn to co-parent a city they love. And it has a wrestler's journey of heroics continues with another hero protects the hood as others seek redemption and tear into each other. So I thought that was a really good pitch. Everyone on this panel today, I'm impressed by all the things you create. Vera, Sam, I love the connection you have with that and the cancer thing you're doing. Wes. It's just the excitement I can hear coming from you. This is why I like doing Backer Pause, because I love to hear the passion. I'm so happy we got to have such a good, passionate amount of creators. I'm telling you, Mike is like a child, like a kid at Christmas. When people talk to him about comics, he just glows. He has this smile that's like a Cheshire cat. And that's what we're all doing in comics. We're trying to entertain you. We're trying to bring you the stories we have in our very souls, and that's what we share with you. So go out there right now, backerpause.com. There are other stories that we didn't get to talk about that are on backerpause.com. Wes, Sam, time is running out for their campaigns. Do not wait. If you like what you heard, go get it. And even if you spend $1, maybe a couple bucks to get a preview, get it now, read about it, make it part something you follow, because I guarantee you both of these gentlemen are going far. Mike is already impressing me with what he wants to create next. We're going to be talking more with him in the coming weeks as we're live with Continuum. I want to thank all of you who watched this evening. We'll see you next week. And happy July 4th, everyone. Go out there, watch some fireworks. Don't blow any digits off. You need them for later. That's it. Good night, everybody.
Night.